Hi, right now here in Texas, it's about 13 degrees outside. Not usual weather for Texas. I know for those of y'all up north, that's no big deal. Down here, that's downright cold. I'm thinking this is chilly weather. Now, if you go online, you're gonna see all kinds of people telling you about we've got the world's best chili. You know, award-winning chili. I'm here to tell you, there's a lot of liars out there because they can't all be the world's best chili. So tonight, at Ralph Knows Food, I'm gonna show you how to make good enough chili. Because I promise you, you guys are all good enough for this. I'm gonna start out, I've put about 2.5 pounds of ground beef. Now, I didn't see enough of the big chunk ground beef to get full 2.5 pounds, so I had to blend in some others. But the important thing is, it's all 80-20 blend ground chuck. Into this bowl, before I put the meat in, I put in about 2 tablespoons of water. I put in 1.5 tablespoons of salt and 3/4 tablespoon of baking soda. Then I'm going to mix this all together. Now what this is going to do, why did I do that? Because that is going to help retain the moisture during the cooking process in the meat, and it's going to help the beef brown up a little bit more fully and quicker when we get to the stage where we're putting it into the Dutch oven. So we're gonna put all that together first. I don't wanna make it too smooth because I want chunks in this chili. Now, we're gonna let that sit for, I don't know, maybe up to 20 minutes here. So I'm gonna set that off to the side. Now, I'm gonna be making up the seasoning. Now, a lot of recipes will call for putting mesa into the recipe. I don't happen to have that, but I do have corn tortilla chips. So I crushed up a bunch of them. I put them in one of these little mini food processors, and I'm gonna put all the other seasonings in there. Now I put all the seasonings in here. What we have here is we have a little bit of cumin, a little bit of paprika, some chili powder, oregano, black pepper, thyme. I'll put the exact proportions of all of those down below. But just let it be known, there's a lot of different seasonings in here. Now I'm gonna dump all that in here, and we're just gonna blend all that stuff up along with the corn chips. And I think that's gonna be good enough. Come with me over to the cooktop. We're gonna start working on the meat. Now, I've got a Dutch oven over here. I've had it on medium heat here, actually a little bit lower than that. I put a little bit of olive oil in here. Next, I'm gonna put some onions in. We're gonna try to cook those down. Along with the onions, I've got some garlic cloves. Now this is only gonna take a few minutes. At that point, we're gonna start adding the beef. Okay, now we've got the onions and the garlic kind of softened up here, so it's time to start adding the meat to the mixture. Now we don't want to overwork the meat because we really want to have some good sized chunks left in here. Now we want to brown this meat up over like the next 10 to 12 minutes or so. But since we put the baking soda mixture in there, it's going to happen quicker than it normally might had we not done that part. Now at this point, it's starting to darken up pretty nicely. I'm going to go ahead and add the seasoning to it. Start getting all these great flavors blended in. Okay, it's starting to look pretty nice and browned at this point. We're going to be adding in a couple of cups of beef broth. And also I'm adding in a 14-ounce can of crushed tomatoes. And I'm putting in about 2 tablespoons worth of sugar. And just because my wife isn't here to see it, I'm just going to go ahead and add a little bit of chocolate syrup. Now, the reason is, I don't know, I just feel like doing it. Sometimes you never know how things are going to turn out, and usually when I've cooked with chocolate syrup, it's turned out like really well. If you add it to a sloppy Joe mix, it comes out excellent, I guarantee you. In fact, in this case, it just might kick our chili up from good enough to a little bit better than good enough. Now we're just gonna let that simmer for a minute. Then we're gonna be placing this into the oven for about 2 hours at about 275 degrees Fahrenheit, I believe. As you can see, as I'm stirring this up, we're still getting some fairly decent sized chunks of beef in here. It's not all real fine, like you might find in, say, a spaghetti sauce. We want those good sized chunks mixed into our chili. We've got a lot of fat and oils in here. That's okay. At the end, you do not want to skim those off because all the seasonings, they are fat soluble. So if you start skimming off the fat from the top of this at any point in time, you are skimming off the flavor. You do not want to do that. You just want to stir that back in. I'm going to bring this up just a little bit more. At that point, I'm going to be popping it into the oven. And we are going to be doing that with the lid on. Okay, at this point, I see that we have brought it up to a simmer. Now I'm going to go ahead and get ready to pop that into the oven. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the heat for right now. Some of you might be saying, Ralph, I didn't see you add any beans. And you're right, because as I mentioned at the beginning, I'm living in Texas and I don't want to be, hogtied and hauled out of town because people down here in Texas kind of got this feeling you shouldn't be putting beans into chili. Personally, I kind of like beans. So if you're the kind of person that likes beans in your chili, you can add a can of beans to this at any point in time from this point on out. So let me grab my mitts and put it in the oven. Lid on. And that's going to be in for about 2 hours. So I will see you then. We are back. The chili has just come out of the oven about 10 minutes ago. I've been giving it a chance to cool down. It looks really good. Check this out. There you go. Time to give it a try. I've got one of my favorite oversized mugs here that I got from Carter Blood Care. Just a hint here, if you're able to donate blood, please consider donating blood. It could make you a superhero to somebody. But right now, let's try this chili. That's very good. Gotta try another bite. I love those big chunks of meat in there. Do you see that? That's what you get when you don't break up the ground beef too much. That is awesome. I'll tell you what, this is actually better than good enough chili. It really is. I'm not gonna make wild claims and say that this is the best chili in the world. I'm not gonna tell you that we're gonna be winning some great awards with this. I'm just telling you, you will enjoy this chili. If you want chili with beans in it, feel free to add beans to it. You could put beans into it right now. Heat it up a little bit longer. You got beans and chili. You want a little bit spicier? Add some Frank's hot sauce or a couple of jalapeno peppers in there, whatever you like, some Louisiana hot sauce. Put it in there, heat it up some more, make it as hot as you want. But this is a great base for chili. Trust me on this. With that said, thanks for joining me. I will catch y'all next time. Bye-bye. Oh man, I gotta have another bite. Definitely good enough.